Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the others. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Have you ever noticed how the happiest people are not always the ones who have the most? They aren't necessarily the richest, the most successful, or the most famous. Often, they're simply the ones who appreciate what they already have. That is the timeless wisdom behind Marcus Tullius Cicero's remarkable quote. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the others. Think about that for a moment. Cicero doesn't say gratitude is just another good quality. He calls it the greatest virtue. More importantly, he says it is the parent of all the others. In other words, gratitude gives birth to kindness, generosity, humility, patience, compassion, and even courage. Why? Because when you are truly grateful, you begin to see the world differently. Instead of asking, why don't I have more? You begin asking, how fortunate am I to have this? That single shift changes everything. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. Instead of immediately checking your phone, worrying about work, or thinking about your problems, what if your first thought was, I'm grateful that I woke up today? That sounds simple, almost too simple. But millions of people never got that opportunity. The very breath you're taking right now is already a gift. Gratitude begins when we stop treating life's blessings as guarantees. We often believe we deserve to have our health, our family, our home, our friends, our opportunities. But life has a way of reminding us that none of these things are permanent. Health can disappear overnight, jobs can vanish, relationships can change, loved ones can leave us. And when something precious is taken away, we suddenly realize how valuable it always was. Why wait for loss before appreciation? Gratitude allows us to treasure today before it becomes yesterday. Now think about kindness. Where does kindness come from? It often begins with gratitude. When someone remembers how others helped them through difficult times, they're more likely to help someone else. A person grateful for encouragement becomes an encourager. Someone grateful for forgiveness becomes more forgiving. Someone grateful for generosity becomes generous. Gratitude creates a chain reaction. One thankful heart inspires another. This is why Cicero calls gratitude the parent of all virtues. Let's consider humility. Pride says, I achieved everything on my own. Gratitude says, many people helped me get here. No one succeeds entirely alone. Someone taught you, someone encouraged you, someone sacrificed for you, someone believed in you before you believed in yourself. The more grateful you become, the less room there is for arrogance. Gratitude naturally produces humility. Now think about patience. Life rarely goes exactly as planned. Delays happen. Disappointments happen. Unexpected challenges happen. Without gratitude, every inconvenience feels unbearable. But gratitude reminds us that even difficult seasons contain hidden blessings. Maybe the delay protected you. Maybe the failure redirected you. Maybe the hardship strengthened you. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain. It simply refuses to believe that pain is the whole story. Then there's compassion. People who appreciate the mercy they've received usually become more merciful toward others. If you've been forgiven, you're more likely to forgive. If you've experienced kindness during your darkest days, you're more likely to extend kindness to someone else's darkest day. Gratitude softens the heart. It reminds us that everyone is fighting battles we cannot see. And then there's generosity. Why do grateful people give more? Because they don't live with a scarcity mindset. They recognize abundance, not necessarily abundance of money, but abundance of love, of friendship, of experiences, of opportunities, of lessons. When you realize you've received so much, giving becomes natural. You stop asking, how much can I keep? Instead, you begin asking, how much can I share? That is the power of gratitude. Now, here's something interesting. Science has repeatedly shown that practicing gratitude improves emotional well-being. People who regularly reflect on what they're thankful for often experience greater happiness, stronger relationships, lower stress, and better resilience. Why? Because gratitude trains the mind to notice what's right instead of obsessing over what's wrong. Our brains naturally focus on problems. It's part of human survival. But gratitude intentionally redirects our attention. It doesn't deny reality, it balances it. Every life has problems. Every life also has blessings. The question is, which one receives most of your attention? Consider two people who earn the same income, live in similar homes, and face similar challenges. One constantly complains. The other constantly gives thanks. Their circumstances may be nearly identical, but their experiences of life are completely different. Gratitude transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. A meal becomes a celebration. A conversation becomes a treasure. A sunset becomes a masterpiece. A quiet evening becomes peace instead of boredom. The external world may stay the same, but the internal world becomes richer. One of the greatest enemies of gratitude is comparison. Comparison whispers, someone else has more. They're happier. They're more successful. They're further ahead. Social media often fuels this illusion. We compare our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. And suddenly, blessings that once thrilled us no longer seem enough. Gratitude breaks that cycle. Instead of comparing your life to someone else's, gratitude invites you to appreciate your own journey, your own victories, your own growth, your own unique story. Another enemy of gratitude is entitlement. When we believe we're owed everything, appreciation disappears. Think about receiving a gift. If you believe you deserved it, you might barely say thank you. But if you recognize it as an act of generosity, your heart fills with appreciation. Life itself is filled with gifts we didn't earn: friendship, beauty, nature, love, second chances, laughter, hope, even the ability to learn from mistakes. Every one of these deserves gratitude. Gratitude also changes relationships. Have you ever noticed how people bloom when they're appreciated? A simple thank you can brighten someone's entire day. A heartfelt acknowledgement can strengthen a marriage. A word of appreciation can motivate an employee. A note of gratitude can heal a friendship. People often underestimate the power of appreciation. Everyone wants to feel seen. Everyone wants to know their efforts matter. Never assume people already know you're thankful. Tell them. Say the words. Write the note. Make the phone call. Express your appreciation while you still have the opportunity. One day, it may be too late. Perhaps the greatest lesson of Cicero's quote is this: gratitude isn't something we practice because life is perfect. We practice gratitude because life is precious. There will always be challenges. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be things we wish were different. But there will also always be something worth appreciating. Sometimes it's as simple as a cup of coffee, a child's laughter, a friend's message, a beautiful sunrise, a lesson learned, another chance to begin again. Gratitude teaches us to notice these moments before they disappear unnoticed. So today, ask yourself, what have I been taking for granted? Who deserves my thanks? What blessings have become so familiar that I've stopped noticing them? And finally, if gratitude truly is the parent of every virtue, then perhaps the simplest way to become a better person is also the most overlooked. Start saying thank you, not just with your words, but with your attitude, with your actions, with the way you treat people. Because when gratitude fills the heart, kindness naturally follows. Humility follows. Generosity follows. Patience follows. Compassion follows. Virtue grows where gratitude lives. And perhaps that is why, more than 2,000 years after Cicero first spoke these words, they still echo with remarkable truth. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the others. May we never stop counting our blessings, because a grateful heart doesn't merely make life happier. It makes life wiser, richer, kinder, and more meaningful.